What is up, my YouTube friends? So I thought I'd do a little different video today. As you can see, this is not a rod and reel, and it's definitely not a crankbait. So I'm still working on doing the episodes of Fishing with Pops, and until then I thought, well, I can put a quick video up of maybe a short gun review and some cleaning. So let's get to it. So what we have here is a Smith & Wesson M&P 45C. The 45 denotes the caliber. It's 45 ACP. ACP, if you don't know, means automatic Colt pistol. The C designation on the end means compact. It is a compact. It is 8+1, 8 in the magazine, 1 in the chamber, 4-inch barrel. Very, very nice made firearms. One of my favorite Smith & Wessons. Just a quick overview. It is a polymer frame pistol. It has a stainless steel slide that is coated. It has front and rear serrations, which is really nice if you're going to be doing press checks. Example, if you're checking to make sure the chamber is loaded. Does have a loaded chamber indicator, but again, it's really nice for press checks. Does have a 3-dot sight system, 2 in the back, 1 in the front. Does have their safety trigger. There's no external safety on the firearm, so you have to depress the bottom of the trigger fully for the gun to function. And it is ambidextrous, which is great because I'm a lefty. Has slide release in the rear on the left hand side of the gun. Has a slide release on the right side of the gun as well. So again, it's left-hander friendly. I can actuate the slide on either side of the gun. Fantastic. Also, the magazine release is ambidextrous. It can be swapped from side to side. Very nice gun. All right, let's get to disassembly. First and foremost, people, you're going to hear this beat to death like a dead horse. I can't stress to you enough, always check your firearm to make sure it's empty. I know this one is, but we're going to treat it like it's a loaded gun. So first things first, drop the magazine out. You see the magazine was empty. We're going to rotate the gun over. Finger is not on the trigger. Pull the slide back. You can see there's nothing in the chamber. The gun is completely safe. You wouldn't believe in statistics how many people are killed by unloaded guns. And what I mean by that is it's a gun that was assumed to be safe and empty, and that just is not the case. So getting over to disassembly, again, it's real quick, it's real easy. So I'm going to grab the slide. I'm going to put my thumb on the slide release or the slide lock. I'm going to depress the slide to the rear while simultaneously pushing up on the button. So you can see the slide's locked to the rear. From there, going to rotate down the takedown lever until it's pointing down. Now you got two options from here. Some people like it, some people don't. On the M&Ps and some other brand firearms, from here I could release the slide and then I could pull the trigger and the slide would come off the front of the frame. A lot of people don't like to pull the trigger, so there is another way to do this. So grab my screwdriver here. I just got a little cheap screwdriver. If you look down in the frame or inside the chamber there's a little lever. If you can see, I just rotated that lever to the down position. So now when I release the slide stop, the slide comes off the frame. Pretty simple. Like I said, the alternative method is to pull the trigger and you get the same effect. Again, a lot of people don't like to pull the trigger. So reassembly, we can go on and do that before we get to cleaning. You're going to line the slide up on the frame, push it all the way back. You'll see the lever automatically kicked itself back in the up position. Now this lever here, this pin is still down from where I rotated it, but if you simply shove your magazine back in, it takes care of that for you. So let's get this gun prepped for cleaning. So again, real quick, we're going to disassemble. Lock slide to the rear, rotate the takedown lever down to the down position, and we're going to knock that little lever down as well into the magazine well. One thing I didn't stress earlier, when you release the pressure off the slide, hold tension against it. You never want the slide to slam home. It's not good for the firearm. So disassemble there. Now typically here, as far as I'll take the frame apart. You're not, in most instances, going to need to take the takedown lever out, the springs, the connector bars, etc. It's really not a lot of need for that. So I'll set that over to the side. Attention back to the slide itself. We're going to remove the recoil spring, set it there, and then the barrel simply tilts up and pulls out. Very simple. From here, what I like to do, I'm a big fan of Ballistol. I'm also a big fan of Hoppe's. You can't beat either one of the products. You can see I use a lot of different kind, rim oil, CLP, a couple other Hoppe's products here. I use some gun grease that's up there, here. I do use that to lubricate the frame itself for where the slide makes contact. It's a fit, form, function area, so it's good to have a little extra lubrication there. You don't want to go crazy though. Back to the slide. Always tilt my slide with the nose or the muzzle end facing down. Just give it a little light coat of not COP, but the Ballistol. You will see a little difference in cleaning methods from person to person. The main reason I tilt it is to keep it out of the firing pin channel. What I'll do there is take a paper towel, something with a little Ballistol or Hoppe's on it, and I'll use that. A lot of guys won't spray back here where striker is, the striker assembly with the spring. I don't worry about that so much. Maybe once out of every 5 or 6 range trips, I'll pull the back plate off and actually pull that out and dry all that assembly out. I've never used so much oil that I've had a malfunction or a misfire because of that. So after the Ballistol's had a chance to set in there, it's real simple. You just give it a wipe. You can see quite a bit of crud coming out of there. And you're going to do that to all interior surfaces here in the slide. And all we're doing is removing the fouling and the burnt powder from the last time we shot this baby. It's also a good idea, excuse me, to keep a lot of Q-tips on hand. Very valuable to you, especially if you do a lot of shooting. And if you do a lot of shooting, you're going to be doing a lot of cleaning. And if you're not doing a lot of cleaning, you need to be, because that determines the longevity of the firearm, the accuracy of the firearm. You don't want to get a lot of pitting, a lot of rust, and actually jams, etc., different types of jams due to contamination. Like I said, I use Ballistol and Hoppe's pretty exclusively, and the Hoppe's is very good for cleaning around that striker or firing pin channel there that I was telling you about. And you can see the crud that comes out of there. This gun, the last time I had it out, I'm going to say I put about 40 to 50 rounds through it. So not an extreme amount, but you can see that we're getting a lot of fouling and contamination out of here. Pretty simple. The main thing is be patient and be thorough. Okay, now that we get the slide cleaned, what I like to do is come back with a very light oil. Again, here you don't have to go crazy. The basics are, you need to know the contact areas, so I always put a drop or two down in the bottom where the barrel is going to be close or in contact in certain areas of the slide. Also on top of the ramp in the back. You know, like I said, for the frame rails, we'll actually use just a tad bit of grease, not much. I'll wipe that down and wipe off any of the excess. Again, guys, it doesn't take a lot. I think if you're new to cleaning or new to guns that it takes a lot of oil and you just got to baste it all over the place. That's not the case. It's very far from the truth. Before we head over to the barrel, you see I just wiped off the guide spring there. Really not a lot you need to do there for that. For the actual frame, all I'm doing is taking a Q-tip with some of the hops or hoppies, however you want to pronounce it, and cleaning the guide rails, the ejector, getting down in the springs, the connector rods, just anywhere where I see bare metal or anywhere near the magazine area, because you're going to get, as you can see, fouling down in there as well. So all I'm doing is going to give this stuff a good coat. I'll come back with a clean shop rag or a paper towel and dry it up. Now, one word of caution when you're using paper towels, you know, just be careful. You don't want to leave a lot of lint and a lot of crud behind, or you're kind of defeating the purpose of what you were doing in the first place, which is cleaning your firearm. Same paper towel I had earlier. It's reasonably clean. It doesn't have to be perfect. And we're just going to go through and wipe that down, what we just did. And this is not rocket science, guys, but you want to be thorough. Like I said, if you shoot a lot, then you know, your guns may get a lot dirtier than what this one is at this point in time. This one's not bad at all. Just your typical fouling and powder residue in the places that you expect it. Now, I do put a little oil in the frame components. The connector spring here, I'll put just a tad bit on it. Come back here in the back, I'll do the same thing, just a touch, just on the moving parts. It doesn't take a lot. Again, old saying is a little goes a long way. It's 100% true when you're talking about lubrication for firearms. Okay, before we move over to the barrel, one trick for putting gun grease on the guide rails on the frame here for the slide is I'll dip a Q-tip in it, just in the cap. No need to squeeze out a bunch out of the tube. And then just very lightly coat those rails. It's more than enough. And you'll see once we do reassembly, even with putting that light amount on the guide rails, when we reinstall the slide and lock the slide to the rear, you'll see some of the extra come out the back end, and we'll get that all wiped up and cleaned up. So again, little goes a long way, and that is a fact, Jack. Okay, barrel, really not a lot of difference here either. So we can use hoppies, we can use ballistol. Initially, I like to use ballistol. I'll start from the chamber side. You can see the feed ramp here is really gunky. But I'll go on and spray that in there, spray it in the barrel, and we'll let it sit there for a second. And while that sits there, I'll make me up a rod and a patch. And we'll run a brush through, we'll run a couple patches until we see most of the fouling come out. We'll run a couple dry patches, and then we'll lube it with the same oil that I use for the slide and the frame. What I'm using here is Hoppy's Elite. It's really good stuff. I've used a lot of different oil. I used to do the old school method and use 3-in-1 oil, WD-40. and telling you, you know, yeah, that stuff works, but get yourself a good oil that's made to do the job. And obviously I don't get paid by Hoppies, but I'll absolutely endorse their product because it's very good. Now, something else I'll point out to you guys, I don't have the best of the best for cleaning rods. You know, I don't use all that fancy stuff. This is a real cheap pistol cleaning kit from Walmart. I think it costs like $6. Gunmaster. Like I said, go back to your sporting goods area and you can pick that up. The rod itself comes in, looks like 3 different pieces. Again, it's really simple. I don't use the included accessories there, the jags. I do use some of the brushes, but if you can see over here, I've got a lot of brushes and mops and stuff myself. So real simple to put this together. We'll put the jointed assembly to the front. Get the rod installed there. You want the correct diameter cleaning or brush for cleaning. So I believe, and you can just kind of get an idea by looking there and going through them which one's going to do the job. There's the one I need. I had it over there in my other stash. Get this stuff out of the way. So while the ballistol is still sitting there in the barrel, from the chamber side, can't stress that enough, we'll insert our brush, work that back and forth. All we're doing is loosening up some of the fouling that's setting in the lands and the grooves of the rifling and in the barrel. That'll be good. Little tech tip, never clean from the muzzle end. If you nick these barrels, you cause a burr or some kind of raised area, you will definitely see a difference in accuracy. Anytime and every time you can, always clean from the chamber side, breech side. Now from there, I got a nice little kit here for running patches through. It's marked for the different calibers. This one 45 to 50 caliber. I'm sorry, this one's for 44 caliber. That's typically the one I use so I can run more than one patch in there, but I do have one for 45 to 50. Let me grab my bag of patches. Probably should have got those out before I got my hands greasy, huh? All right, simple. Get that baby installed there. What we'll do is lay a patch on the front and then we'll push it through the barrel. And you can see it went through really easy. I can run, with that size, I can run 2 or 3 patches and make a pretty tight fit. That's dirty. That's why you have to clean your guns. So I'll go ahead and spray a little more ballistol in there. Make sure it has a chance to run down through there. This time we'll put a couple patches through. What I like to do is I'll offset my patches 90 degrees, just like that, make a little star pattern. And that's a much better fit. Also, to reuse, since we pushed from this side, we made it dirty there, so we can flip it over and do it backwards. We can also turn the patches around, so you can be a little bit more conservative by doing it this way. And you can see we still got quite a bit of dirt out of there. At this point, just from personal preference, I'm going to switch over and use the hops or hoppies. And we're going to do the same thing. So if you saw there, all I did was lay the patches over the bottle and splash a little up on there. The hoppies is pretty good stuff. It doesn't take a lot to get the job done. I use it a lot, so that bottle is getting pretty empty. You see we still got quite a bit of fouling coming out of there. Again, same thing, a couple patches together. Much better. Getting clean. We got our barrel cleaned with our preferred cleaner. Last step, we'll run a couple dry patches through, make sure we get all that out. Then we'll run a really light coat of oil. So I got a couple clean dry patches. Again, from the chamber side, we'll push those through. And you can see they come out. There's no dirt and grime on the patches. They're good to go. So last step, I'm going to reuse the same ones again. I'm going to put a couple, 3 or 4 drops of oil, or 5, on our patch, and we're going to run that in the barrel. Just a couple little passes there. Always hold it up to the light and look, we got a good coating in there, so we're ready to reassemble our firearm. To do that very simply, we've already prepped our slide. I'm going to insert the barrel back into home position, rotate it around. We're going to take our guide rod back up on the ledge there, grab our frame, insert our slide back on those guide rails, lock it back to the rear. Now you can go in here with that lever and rotate it back. It's a little easy way. Insert the magazine, take the magazine back out. You'll see our takedown levers back into the up position and slides back home. We're good. Gun is ready to go to the safe until we're ready to use it again. Again, guys, this is the Smith & Wesson M&P 45C. It's 45 caliber, 4-inch barrel. It's a stainless slide. It is coated front and rear serrations. 8+1, 8 in the mag, 1 in the pipe. It's a great little gun if you get a chance to get your hands on one and shoot it. I fully recommend it. They shoot really good. It's got a really decent trigger on them. And the ambidextrous is really nice as well. Like I said, I'm a left-handed shooter. And it's nice to have one that's ambi. Alright? Till next time, guys, take care. Don't forget, like, share, and subscribe. And also catch me over on Facebook at Coffee and Crankbaits. Alright? See ya.